Try making too woke be a cancelable offense. It's important for America to have a center-left party and for that party to be competitive. And a good first step toward that goal would be to make the voters not want to punch you in the face. The reason I'm so mad at the Democrats is because as a voter, the issues that were important to me were democracy and the environment. And now, there's no one to champion or defend either of them because you, with your aggressively anti-common sense agenda and shitty exclusionary attitude, blew it. You lost everything.
Bill Maher just lit up the woke crowd like a 4th of July firework, and the reaction was pure chaos. The same crew still reeling from Kamala Harris losing to Donald Trump is now busy churning out excuses faster than a factory on overdrive. But Maher, a guy who proudly waves his left-leaning flag, dropped a truth grenade so blunt it sent the echo chamber into a full-scale meltdown. If you're ready for political commentary that hits harder than a sledgehammer on glass, strap in, smash that subscribe button, and let's get into it.
To the losers, look in the mirror. No? Well, maybe it should. Sorry. Well, that's my feeling. Losers look in the mirror, okay? You know, yeah. I mean, for months, Democrats have been saying, how is this even close? And they're right, it wasn't.
That one message alone sent the woke brigade spiraling into orbit. Instead of taking the loss on the chin, they blamed everyone and everything for Kamala Harris's defeat. Russia, the media, the voters. Basically anyone with a pulse. Accountability. Nowhere in sight. So when Maher took the mic, they braced for the same tired blame game script. But instead, he flipped the table, telling them to quit whining and face their own failures. That was bad enough for them, but then came the knockout blow. His no apologies, no survivors truth bomb didn't just ruffle feathers. It plucked the whole bird bare, triggering an online meltdown.
Conceive of a second Trump term, but they shouldn't. When does America ever turn down seconds? I mean, come on. Look, this is just a fact. It's just a fact. Trump won all the swings, all seven. He ran the tape. Trump won so big. Today he called the Secretary of State in Georgia and he asked him to lose him $11,000.
I get why so many on the left can't stand Bill Maher. Because nothing stings worse than being roasted to dust by one of your own. They expect him to follow the late-night playbook. Bash Trump, toss out lazy jokes, and recycle the same lines Jimmy Kimmel and Jon Stewart wear out nightly. But Maher, he's not your team mascot. He calls out hypocrisy wherever it hides, even in his own backyard. And when he unloads on Democrats, it's not just sharp, it's brutal, leaving his side scrambling for excuses and nursing bruises.
He has an amazing coalition. He kept the old crowd that likes him. He got a lot of new voters. He got a lot of people who say, they just want to see what he'll do. I call this the get the cat high vote.
Maher pointed to the real reason Trump stormed back into the White House, keeping his die-hard supporters locked in while winning over new voters, something the DNC couldn't dream of replicating. By the end of Biden's second year, nearly half his original voters had already walked away. And these weren't just random folks. We're talking big names like Joe Rogan and Elon Musk, both openly distancing themselves from the Democrats. Then there was RFK Jr., bailing after losing faith in the party's increasingly extreme woke agenda. Maher's point landed like a hammer. Trump grew his movement, while Democrats pushed their own people away and watched their coalition fall apart.
Like in every demographic. The exit poll said he grabbed 52% of white women. He also got their votes. Yeah. Yeah. We're going to keep doing jokes here, okay? Right? Both sides, right to the end.
Trump pulling 52% of the white female vote is wild, especially after the left threw the kitchen sink at him. They paraded women into courtrooms, turned legal battles into primetime drama, and had the media documenting every eyebrow raise like it was Watergate 2.0. The mission: make him untouchable, unelectable, and radioactive. But when the dust settled, Trump walked out with courtroom wins and, to the horror of his critics, the majority of white women voters behind him. The story the left tried to write fell apart, and voters decided to pen their own end.
Lost the ability to speak truth to bullshit. The Democratic polling firm Blueprint told Democrats months ago that black voters, aka their supposedly liberal base, were more likely to find the president too liberal than too conservative. They also found that voters didn't just want Harris to distance herself from Biden, they wanted her to distance herself from what they believe the entire Democratic Party has become, a Portlandia sketch.
Here's why so many Americans stick with Trump. No smoke, no mirrors, no poll-tested word salads. What you see is what you get. He doesn't sugarcoat, and you'll never wonder what he really meant. No empty promises, no fake smiles, no bait-and-switch politics. It's raw, unfiltered, unapologetic. And in a world drowning in staged performances, that's rare currency. Kamala Harris couldn't match that. From day one, her campaign was a blur of mixed messages, shifting tones, and speeches stuffed with feel-good fluff but empty on actual solutions. Voters waited for a clear plan and walked away.
Environment under the bus to win the fracking vote in Pennsylvania and the automobile vote in Michigan, and then didn't win either. At the presidential debate, environment came up once, and Kamala used the opportunity to brag that we've increased domestic gas production to historic levels. And Trump, of course, called Mother Nature a childless cat lady. And now we're back to that, because the Democrat lost. So good luck to us and enjoy the impossible.
Maher nailed it. If Democrats want any shot in the next election, they've got to cut loose from the chokehold of woke culture. They've let fringe, Twitter-friendly ideals hijack their platform, pushing away everyday Americans who care more about paychecks, safety, and stability than lectures on pronouns. The obsession with identity politics and virtue signaling doesn't inspire. It irritates. It's gotten so bad that, figuratively speaking, people feel like punching the air just hearing it. If the left refocused on real-world issues instead of online approval, they might actually compete with a machine like Trump's.
Making too woke be a cancelable offense. It's important for America to have a center-left party, and for that party to be competitive. And a good first step toward that goal would be to make the voters not want to punch you in.
The Democrats have managed to alienate huge chunks of their own base by treating common sense like it's radioactive. While Americans struggled with crushing prices and stagnant wages, the DNC's spotlight wasn't on inflation or jobs. It was on pushing medical interventions for minors and rewriting the rulebook for women's sports. Meanwhile, America's global standing wobbled, rivals flexed, and allies grew nervous. Instead of uniting the country around shared priorities, they doubled down on culture war politics, proving that for them ideology comes first, and the people they're supposed to serve come second.
I will conclude by saying the reason I'm so mad at the Democrats is because as a voter, the issues that were important to me were democracy and the environment. And now, there's no one to champion or defend either of them because you, with your aggressively anti-common sense agenda and shitty exclusionary attitude, blew it. You lost everything. House, Senate, White House, Supreme Court, and left us completely unprotected and ready to be violated. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody!
That's 2024 collapse wasn't just about Trump's strength. It was about their own self-inflicted disaster. While Trump kept his base loyal, expanded his reach, and projected authenticity, the DNC bled support with muddled messaging, tone-deaf priorities, and a suffocating devotion to woke culture. Kamala Harris failed to earn trust, leaning on safe platitudes instead of bold ideas. They ignored bread-and-butter issues like jobs, inflation, and safety, and instead chased divisive cultural fights that split their coalition in half. Even insiders like Bill Maher waved warning flags, but the party didn't listen, and they paid for it. If they want a comeback, they'll need more than excuses. They'll need to remember who they're supposed to be fighting for.
shocker that the people who see everything through the lens of race and sex see their election loss as a result of racism and sexism. Yes, if only we weren't so irredeemably unenlightened, we would have elected a black president by now. Oh, what, we did? Oh, right, and then re-elected him. Maybe you missed it because it wasn't on TikTok.